Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Oswald, do I have you in here?
Hey, yeah, you do. Yes, I am here. Hi, how are you?
Sweet,
How you
sweet.
doing?
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Just my lower back hurts a little bit.
Yeah,
Just
dude,
kind of
mine
gotta.
too. Holy crap.
You know what they say? Like the most important piece of furniture in your house, and like one of the most important things you can buy is a good bed. Because like you
Yeah,
spend, think of just how much hours of the day you spend just like sleeping on your bed, right? Like it's like a third of your life.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
I agree.
why everybody should go on to snidersofhanover.com right now. They're selling very special
Mattress
pretzel-sized
sale.
beds.
Mattress sale.
Mattress sale at snidersofhanover.com. If you go there right now and you enter in the promo code Awesomenauts Dojo, you will receive 0.00001% off your next Sniders of
They're
Hanover
gonna
mattress
empty those
purchase.
warehouses, man. Now, gosh.
Oh, let me tell you,
Yeah,
they
they're
got to
going.
stock
They're
up.
going, and they got a pretzel-shaped mattress, right?
Oh, absolutely. And they'll even put salt on the sheets for you. Like
Oh
it'll be
my
like grained into the mattress, so you can't even like get it out.
All right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we're gonna go and talk about this bracket here. So what we have is this. We have this quarterfinals finished up. All right, and we're heading into the semifinals now. So exciting, exciting stuff. And you can see the bracket here on the screen, and we have all 2-0 games. What is up with that, Oswald?
I'm not exactly sure. I think that might speak to a little bit of the balancing that goes into drafting. Maybe just the skill that comes with the drafting process is more than a lot of people give credit for. Like I think, and it's even been alluded to with some of the other casters. I honestly think that there are some games that are almost won and lost just by the draft.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of what we see here is like you'll see some teams that there'll be these matches, and if you actually look at the players and the way they execute, their skills are about equal. But then you like look at the draft, and you can kind of see a trend with one team pretty consistently outdrafts the other, and I think this might kind of speak to that a little bit.
okay, yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that, and it's pretty apparent that also we have a lot of teams that are being made from NA only players, and this is the first NA only tournament that we've had, I think, since the beginning. So we have all new teams that are being assembled here, like pub plays. We've never seen them before.
Mm-hmm.
My team, Game of Thrones, we've never seen before, and like in the past, I've been on teams actually with European players, and many other NA players have had to get into the competitive scene by having a team of a mix of like different regions. And so this is the first,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, with the exception of like Meme Machine and also That1Team, they've been NA only teams in the past tournaments as well. But this is like the first time that we've had to like get a bunch of different teams scramble together and try to create NA only teams. So it's exciting and it's like
Mm-hmm.
new, but it's also a challenge. And so with the Awesomenauts Dojo scene, we're hoping to create a more consistent competitive vibe with the NA scene. So hopefully we can see more practice within these teams so that they can get better. But this is obviously the whole 2-0 thing is a result of that. And so now as we move into the semifinals, we have serious decisions, which is actually they're totally not new to the competitive scene at
They're not
all.
newcomers at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, for sure.
And then Tinderfinger's fan club, that's of course leader. You also have Lots and Ambergris, and No Pete. So they're also used to the competitive, more like League One style of play. And so yeah. Any
Right.
thoughts about these next matchups, like Series Decisions versus Tinderfinger's fan club and Me Machine?
Just I mean, a little bit echoing of what you said already. Just kind of the difference between what most people kind of experience maybe in the regular public matches on ladder and the type of games that we're going to see here. I think that's one of the main differences between kind of these top tier teams and the other teams that are very clearly talented, but don't quite get to the level of some of these teams. And I think it just comes down to the teamwork. Is you can have great mechanical skills and great individual game sense, but like the way teams move together, we complimented That1Team, on their movement together. We've definitely seen that with Mean Meme Machine as well.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of the key is just like the way that the dynamics of the game flow and how you can even obviously using comms and speaking to your teammates, but also even when there's no comms involved, just an understanding of when are we moving in, when are we about to go in as a team, when do I need to collapse to help my teammate, and when do I just need to abandon them and say, okay, they're lost cause. That kind of
Yeah.
give and take is definitely one of the best, most determining factors I think of these top teams.
Oh yeah, totally. And so hey, you want to jump into the first semifinal match, by the way?
Absolutely not.
All right.
See you guys. Yeah, no,
All
let's
right,
do it.
I'm solo casting this, guys. It's been a great stream so far. No, it's okay. It's okay. So we're gonna head over to the draft now, and we got Serious Decisions versus That1Team, and so like I said, Serious Decisions. We haven't been able to cast. I don't think. No, or did we cast one of their games so far? I'm having trouble remembering.
Serious Decisions. I don't think
we've
casted.
seen them yet. Yeah, and so this is the first game, and it's already in the semifinals that we've seen of them. They've kind of soared all the way through the bracket up until this point. So obviously they're a scary team. You got players like 9volt, Zuji. He's the only guy that's playing in this tournament that has a cat badge, I think. And then there's also Mr. Manager, and you got on the other side of things, you got Celti, Pirate Cheese, Hala. Omnipulse is their sub. I don't think they ever brought him up though into the games, but he's also they've been a team and they've been playing together for so long, so they got some serious synergy going. And I know that more recently they've been playing a lot of knots lately, so they were the ones that just casted. Shout out to them. Thank you guys for casting, by the way. And now we get to see this match of yours. So without further ado, do you want to talk about the picks and drafts and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Now they're not casting anymore. We can criticize them as much as we want,
exactly.
and there's not going to be a response. So that's great. But yeah, so as you can kind of see the draft here, you can see that Serious Decisions went for a Penny for their first ban, and then on the other side they went T1T went for Frog with their first ban. I think these are honestly the bans all around. I think these are pretty common bans, especially in this kind of when you know that you're going to be when you know the map is a Gillian. You know that's going to be super team fight centric. These are the burstiest characters in the game, the most consistent burst characters that you're seeing right now. And then Swiggins, who's kind of a setup and a little bit of a burst himself. So for these burst centric team fight heavy teams that are the most effective on a Gillian, these bans make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's really interesting that the kind of double tank kind of comp that Serious Decisions has. I played with that before in previous tournaments with the Lux and Sentry, and it is scary, dude, because there's a lot of they can take a lot of damage and they can give a lot of damage, and so you add a Ted into that mix, and that's just one scary comp. It's like I don't really know, maybe that's like the new Sentryhard comp, you know, because you take out the Voltar, you add in a Jimmy, that's still a lot of damage reduction there. There's a lot of damage. There's some missiles that for the long range that can combo with the black holes. There's so much going on the other side of things. You got Nibs there, like you said, huge team fight kind of character. Not as strong in the clears unless you build into auto attack. And with Genji, there's a lot of clears there. There's a lot of push. With Coco's just all around solid. But can they break up this huge like shieldy kind of tanky comp? I don't know. We'll have to see. But without further ado, let's jump right into the match. Once we're at the 25-second mark.
I am there and ready.
All right. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and commencing the match. So we got over here on the blue side is That1Team, and on the red side we got Serious Decisions.
Right, I think you kind of summed it up with your kind of evaluation of the team comps, but as we're seeing coming out from Serious Decisions, that's a thick team right there. That's going to be really hard, and I think because that's why they wanted to ban those burst characters like Frog and Vinny, or I'm sorry, the other way around, Penny and Swiggins, because those are the ones that could potentially break through that, especially with like a damage amplify type of effect on you could get that on Hook and also of course on Penny's Pulse. So seeing a little bit of the footsie knots coming out here, I think it'll be interesting to see if That1Team just has enough damage, basically.
Yeah, and so for the items bought so far, we got Zuji on Ted. We got him playing with the stun on Stimpack, which is a very favorable pick from the start. We also have double regen on the Sentry, very important because Sentry takes so much damage. So it's kind of essential to get double regen. And then we got Danger Pins being bought with Nival. I believe when I played with him on my team, he wasn't a Jimmy main, but I guess recently, like within the last several months, he must have picked him up. Really, I
think you've seen a bunch of different, a bunch of players in this tournament kind of try to adapt to the meta at least a little bit, in the sense that, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. I was practicing a lot of characters that I don't normally play. You see there's a nice, really forward positioning coming out of Serious Decisions here to even deny them some of their own creep areas. Looks like Sentry has the black hole too, so he's going to try and get something there with the airstrike. not quite, and Celti's gonna breathe a lot of fire and not lead to much. But yeah, I know I've noticed a similar trend as what you said. A lot of people were kind of trying these characters like Jimmy. I know I didn't play a whole lot of Vinny before this tournament, but he's very strong right now, and he's so great in with organized team comps too. Like Silence is so crazy good. So
yeah, and of course the picks of Genji and Nibs are kind of hard counters towards the sentry setups and the pin setups. I think they totally did the right move with this. I just don't know if it'll be advantageous for the push game. Is what I'm worried about for That1Team.
Right, yeah, we'll see. And there's like Genji is a very particular type of lockdown when it comes to like the burst damage that you might want to pair with it. You see Celsi is kind of doing a lot of damage on the Jimmy and vice versa. So you see That1Team is just having to be really conservative with their positioning so far. That's where the push from Ted is really starting to exactly what you're talking about. The push being a problem for That1Team right now. The positioning with the Ted push and the forward positioning of the sentry is definitely being effective right now.
Yeah. So right now what we have going on is what they like to call just kind of footsie-knots, just trying to get a foothold in the tournament, in this match, trying to get a couple picks if they can, if not, trying to poke the tournaments a bit if they can. Of course, they have so much tank and so much like life steal from the start, the red team does, and so they're just trying to poke at the turrets as much as they can. We got Piratry's trying to get a cocoon there, trying to get something going for the team, but it looks like blue team's just having to try to fight them off the best they can here.
Right, it's gonna come down to the cocoons. I mean, what I wanted to say about the cocoons is that Nibs is a slightly awkward type of burst to try and pair with cocoon, because obviously, there's a nice black hole and a counter cocoon out of Pyro Cheese.
Yeah.
But you see right there, like, most of that breath damage didn't go on the cocoon target, because obviously cocoon shields you from damage. So usually when you think of the burst damage that you usually want to pair with the cocoon, it's the burst that happens like all at once. Oh, Celti's very lit, but the Monarch
barely gets out of that one.
Just enough chip damage to
I want to point out that Genji got DOT on auto attack to start with, which is really good if the sentry is going teleburst. But recently Ronimo has nerfed teleburst to be completely like not even like a thing anymore. I mean, it's the way that it used to be built. And so it's still definitely a good early upgrade just in general to get DOT, especially because I think it's relatively cheap. But also he got the Moon Nectar right after that.
Ooh,
very nice black hole right there. Picking up that Genji early on, and now they're probably going to try to poke their turrets even more so, especially as Celsius getting really lit. Oh, he almost gets taken out. Wow, there's that. Did he get DOT on auto attack? I don't think he did. Oh, wow. Okay, well, anyway, so they're going to maybe take down the top turret we have right now.
Yeah. A lot of damage to it.
They're going to try. But anyways, what I was saying was the Moon Nectar on Genji's cocoon. That's such a good support upgrade. I think it equates to like a full health package. I'm not too sure if you get all the little health orbs on the ground.
It might, if you got all of them, it might be even more. It's a lot. And considering that, great engagement here on the outer position.
Yeah, that was a good counter pick by Holla right there. Gotta give it to him.
Absolutely, no, a lot of credit there. And that's kind of how it looks like. Celtic gets caught in the black hole. He's just gonna try and counter with his own damage and then orb out. That is the nice thing about the Sentry pick versus the Nibs pick versus the Sentry.
Oh, I don't know how he got picked there, but it looks like he was going in a little bit too hard, and then managed getting picked up by his auto attack.
Right, yeah, that was a little unfortunate, but I mean that seems like to be the kind of playstyle they're going for.
Great cocoon there on Nival. Are they going to be able to finish this? That's the question. Oh, he goes in with the. Oh, he actually gets picked.
Oh man!
What a great covering by his team. The red team's just on fire with synergy right now.
That's where just the stickiness and just the overall bulk of that team comes in handy. Like on most knots, that would have definitely been a clean pick on that cocoon target, but it was Jimmy with his shielding, and of course there was the other thick targets and Sentry to kind of soak up some of the damage too. Yeah, so I mean right now That1Team is just trying to. They're playing back because they have to, because of the positioning. They just don't have as strong positioning as the other team, and so they're trying to take advantage of mistakes, which they are doing occasionally, but it's. Right now, it's kind of a slow grind. It's not really a winning strategy as much as it is a lose slower strategy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally agreed. Right now we have the super droids marching into their turrets, and it's looking kind of grim for the early game for blue team right now. Oh, that's of course a humiliation right there. I believe that's called Zydecoring.
That's the Zydecore
Yeah,
right there.
that's when you get Zydecored, maybe, or maybe Zydecoring is only when you get picked off without anybody around. I'm not too sure. There's some kind of weird term like that.
Maybe. I mean, if you wanted to be real specific with it, it's Zydecore is getting picked by the Super Droid when there's no one around, and you're pushing the base for a potentially game-winning push. We wanted to be really specific with it. Oh, nice cocoon there. See, that's where the awkward part. It looks like they are gonna pick him off. Maybe they can't follow up anymore. It looks like Jimmy's just gonna survive. That's incredible. That's talk about the
wow,
and
another great cocoon. I think. Wow. Okay, they barely picked him off,
There
but
you
still,
go.
they got a kill on the Genji. Every time they seems like
trying to
the
go
blue
for the
team
Ted,
tries
too.
to go in on the red team, they ended up getting picked, which is really unfortunate.
Right. I think.
Oh, he barely gets out there.
That was so close. Oh my goodness. But I think like this they tried to go for pairing this awesome burst damage of Nibs with the cocoon, but it's not like Nibs is like a Vinny or a Clunk or a Frog where the burst damage pairs obviously really well with Genji because you just wait, you position yourself when the cocoon's there, and then you hit exactly after they come out of the cocoon. But
oh wow,
oh,
great
and
invis
nice-
kill
oh,
on
okay.
Salty there.
That's going to be a really rough position for That1Team to try and mitigate this push. Obviously, Coco
Yeah.
can try and do her best, but
It seems like red team is just incredibly pressurizing like the blue team here with the push, with the kills and everything. Because they're so tanky, they're able to just be right in their face this entire match. Just always pushing, especially with the head push. This is just devastating so far. They haven't even, you can say you can't even see the health bars on the red turrets because they haven't even touched them yet.
right, yeah, not even like one bit of chip damage. That's crazy. That tells you about the positioning. They're trying to converge on the Jimmy, but of course he's got his charge off cooldown, so he's ready. There is a cocoon on the Jimmy now. Self tries to get in position, but again, you can't do damage while the cocoon's there, so he's able to kind of get away. The Monarch Blessings coming out. They're going to see if they can converge. Oh, and awkwardly the breath all happens. Maybe the DOT will happen after the cocoon to be enough, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like Jimmy is just going to survive. They catch Hala in a good black hole, and it looks like team can kind of reset a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like the blue team has a little bit of breathing room now as the other team has gone back to base. They're just going to have to clear the droids and try to get some kind of push going. They really need to try to get a really good cocoon play here. And it looks like Celti's going to be the main damage dealer to take advantage of these cocoons. We'll see if he can pull it off because Nival, super tanky. Oh, and they managed to get a kill on Genji. That is a big pick. That's just going to keep the steamroll going here.
He almost got Celti as well. That's what I'm saying. Is like this. It just doesn't seem there's as much consistent damage out of blue team as they need, and they would need a lot with that tanky team. They just busted through the bottom turret, and they're like around half health, but they're still kind of fine, and they're just pushing anyway.
They're already knocking at their back door here at the base here. Really, not a good place to be in if you're That1Team right now.
Right, yeah, Celti's gonna try and disrupt some of their retreating
looks
a little
like they
bit.
got Nival down to like about 1 bar. Oh wow, this is a crazy engagement right now.
They're very. You see how frustrating it must be for That1Team because they'll even execute some of their damage really effectively, but the other team's just so.
They're just so
fat.
tanky, so sustaining.
It's just so hard to bust through.
I've noticed that Mr. Manager got BKM on Sentry, which is really an interesting buy. I guess to counteract the slow and all the cocoon and everything. They recently changed that, I believe, that BKM affects cocoon. It also affects gaze, I believe. It used to not. So really good upgrade to buy in competitive game.
Right, yeah, you can see even how short that cocoon lasted on the Sentry potted as well. Yeah, no, oh wait, that's who you're talking about. Sorry, the names threw me off. But yeah, you can see some of the poking coming in. They have all full health, and they're going to try and get something on this base right now. Pyro does get the cocoon to get away, but it means that there's not as much engagement potential. They're all lit. Thankfully, the breath from Celsi is able to scare them off, but blue team's all lit. They got to heal up before they can come back out to defend.
Very true, very true. It seems like, honestly, the whole result of this match is just due to the crazy tankage of the red team. It seems like they might have lost in the draft picks, actually. And that's
I might agree with that.
That's the true, because blue team's not particularly messing up too much. They're just like getting outplayed just by character design. Oh, but they actually managed to maybe get a wipe here.
That was good execution. They might be able to.
Maybe they're one big play. Maybe this can send them off
Oh,
to
that's
their
a
first
wipe.
good start here.
I mean,
That was a wipe.
They are executing very well. I think I would agree that the problems are from the draft, but that was a great execution. If they're going to turn it around, that was definitely the way to start going towards that direction. Are we going to see the first bit of damage touch the red turret? It looks like it. Look, there's a
I wonder if they're going to be able to pick off a turret here. Because they're already back.
Looks like,
they were just
yeah,
able
Red
to
Team's
get
already
help,
back, and there's a
clear
black
the
hole.
droids, and try to touch the turrets. But yeah, it looks like they're going to have to back up already.
They did crack the bottom turret at least. So it's at least, you know, being somewhat damaged. But you're right. This is the pushing situation is not in That1Team's favor.
If you look at the upgrades now, up to the left there, you can see that most of Red Team just built it to damage, straight auto attack damage, all three of them. So that's heavy push, just all the time, just aggressing, and all the time pressurizing with auto attack and just with basic damage per second. And on the other side of things, the other team, they're having to kind of counter pick their upgrades to be more shieldy, to be more bursty when they need to be, but it's more like counteractive on how the red team play. Really interesting.
Right, and I think just the Excelsior is going to try and do some damage before popping right out, but it doesn't do much. I would have liked to, and of course, maybe forgive me if this isn't an upgrade anymore, but I know there was a cocoon upgrade where you could reduce the amount of percentage of health that the other team has.
I believe so. Yeah, I think it's still. Might not be as popular, but yeah.
I would have liked to maybe see some experimenting with that against this team, because if you just the regular kind of flat damage amounts. Oh, there's a nice cocoon there, but a counter black hole.
Oh wow, you got that blessing coming in clutch there to save his
right.
teammate.
I think that would have been a double kill.
Enough,
in terms of, they would have lost, I think, at least one more if they didn't have the blessing there. But they're
looks
still
like they're having to, yeah, they're already taking base because they're in trouble. They didn't make it fast enough, and that ends the game just like that. We got 14 minutes long, 9 kills to 5. They held their ground for the most part, but they just could not fight off the push and could not fight off the insane DPS.
It was just a lot of damage, so much health on their side. I do think that it was kind of a draft situation. I think that if you're going to go with a Genji as your setup, you need a burst character that is more. Now, granted, Serious Decisions tried to ban against this, like a Vinny and a Frog. Those, I believe those were the bans for them. Or am I reducing that? Maybe it was Penny and Swiggins, but
yeah,
either way,
sure.
they were banning the burst characters. But
yeah,
the selection of a Nibs with a Genji is awkward, because if you're Nibs, you want a setup that doesn't shield damage, because it's a procedural. It's not the damage all at once; it's damage over a course of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas Genji obviously shields him from that damage, so he wants all damage all at once. So it's a Clunk or a Vinny or a Frog, that kind of thing. Whereas Nibs wants the setup that a Sentry or a Swiggins would provide. So I think the bans were spot on from Serious Decisions. I think it was just a little bit of an awkward comp coming out from That1Team. Just not quite enough damage to deal with the insane bulk that was coming. And like you said, the execution was still great. That1Team deserves credit for their execution. It was just, I think it was the draft.
Yeah, very true. In closing statements here, what would you do differently if you were That1Team? What kind of knots would you go for against this kind of team?
Let me see if I can. It would be a little bit difficult without knowing the order. I would definitely, because it might have been a case where Serious Decisions picked Sentry before That1Team could pick Sentry. But I would definitely probably some kind of damage besides, or maybe something to counteract the push. Even I might say even if there's something weird like a Scree or maybe some kind of initiation that could shut down, maybe more silence if there's a Leon. But you can definitely see that the bans were on point from Serious Decisions, so it definitely disrupted the process at That1Team. I'm not exactly sure how the process goes, so I can't exactly say which way would have been best.
Yeah, I would definitely say for That1Team, picking up Ray against this comp, it not only fights off the push, but it also slows them down tremendously and provides DPS from her auto attack if you go that way.
And dropping a Rift on top of a Cocoon is definitely one way to try and secure more kills.
Definitely, definitely. Well, without further ado, we don't want to stall too much. We're just going to jump right into the next semifinals after just a quick water break for me and Oswald. But stay tuned, guys. We have a lot more games installed. We are going to jump. We're not going to be able to cover the full sets of the semifinals. I just want to emphasize, due to time constraints, we don't want the stream going on forever. Though, if there is a popular demand, I can stream the other matches that we didn't cover. But we are going to jump right over to the other semifinals and go over that one. So without further ado, here's the break, and see you guys in just a bit.